Mr. Harris here, and welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk more about organs and systems in the human body, and then we'll do a quick wrap-up of this whole chapter 4.1. But before we begin, in the previous video, do you guys recall what you have learned? Okay, we talked about how cells are able to grow, differentiate, and we talked about a process called cell division. And towards the end of the video, we learned about the levels of organization. Do you recall what levels are there? So the first level we learned was cells. You have cells, and you have a group of them working together to form tissues. Tissues, they work together. Different tissues work together. You get organs. Organs, they work together. And then what do you get? You get system, for example, the digestive system. And finally, the systems, what do they do? What do they do? They basically maintain life of a living thing. All right, so these were the levels of organization we learned. So let's continue. So imagine you have these organs. So I want you to pause the video right now and do question 2 on your book, Practical 4.5, and match these organs with the systems of the human body. All right, so there should be the nervous system, the digestive system, the respiratory or breathing system, so we can call either, and you have the urinary system. All right, so here is the answer. For the nervous system, you have the brain. For the digestive system, you have the stomach, intestine, and liver. For the breathing or respiratory system, you have the trachea. All right, it's not trachea, it's trachea, or the lungs. For the urinary system, that's where you do your number 1 and number 2. You have the kidneys and you have your urinary bladder. Okay? So for this part, different blank work together as a system for a particular function. So different, just now all of them were organs. Of course, there are many more organs that are not listed over here. So these are just some examples of organs. All right? So you may ask me, Mr. Harris, so we've been talking about humans the whole time. How about plants? Do they have organs? And the answer is yes. These 3 are organs of plants. You have the leaf, the stem, and the root. So the leaves are basically flat and thin. They provide a large surface for leaves to receive light. All right, for the plant to receive light, sorry. You have the stem. So the stem basically provides support. It's pretty strong as well. And it helps the plant to receive more light for photosynthesis. And I remember I've told you about this word. Photosynthesis is how plants make their own food. Okay, so the plants basically use light to gather food. And finally, you have the roots. The roots are long and thin, and they provide the plant an anchor to absorb water from the soil. Okay, so these are different functions that these organs have. So the roots have different function. The stems would have its own function. Just now, what I mentioned about support. The leaves, it has flat and thin leaves to provide a large surface area to receive sunlight. So it's very similar to the humans. Each organs would have their own specific functions. So examples of organs of plants include, as I mentioned, you have leaves, What else do you have? You have stems and you have roots. Again, they're specialized for carrying out different functions. They have their own functions. All right, so let's do a wrap up for this whole chapter, chapter 4.1. I know you're all sad it's over, finally over, but don't worry, we'll continue on with the next chapter or next topic. All right, let's do question 1. You can pause the video by yourself and do the checkpoint questions. I'm going to continue now. DNA determines the traits of a living thing. Is this true or false? Yes, it is true. You remember I told you what's the meaning of traits? If you've forgotten, you can rewatch the videos from earlier. But traits are certain things, certain characteristics of a human being that are genetically inborn. Question B. The number of cells increase by cell division. Is it true or false? Yes, of course, it is true. Question 1C. Different organs form a tissue to carry out a particular function. Is this true or false? No, this is false. The reason behind is different organs. What do they form? Do you remember the levels of organization? You have cells, you get tissues, and then what do you get? You get organ. And from organs, what do you get? You get a system. All right, so different organs form a system to carry out a particular function. Hence why question 1C is false. It should be system instead. Now let's see question 2. The photo shows the chromosomes found in the body cell of a person. Okay, pretty colorful as you can see. Let's read the question. Which of the following statements is correct? A. There are 22 pairs of chromosomes. Are there 22 pairs? So let's have a look. So you have 1, 2, 3, all the way up to 22. But don't forget these two as well. This is the 23rd pair, the sex chromosomes. So is option A correct? No. There should be 23 pairs of chromosomes. Let's see option B. There are 45 chromosomes. Is that correct? No, because there are 23 pairs, there should be 46 chromosomes. So this is wrong. Let's see option C. This 2 sex chromosomes come from the mother of that person. Now, is this true or false? This is also false because as I've told you earlier, the chromosomes, one comes from mother and the other comes from your father, the father. Okay, so one sex chromosome would come from your father, the other would come from your mother. So let's see option D. The cell is taken from a female. So let's see whether this is true or not. As you can see over here, you have, for the sex chromosome, you have XX, double X. So that means this indeed is a female. So the answer is option D. Alright, so this is the end of this video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.